I'm Tiffany, and this is from Mamaw's Kitchen. This is where I get to share with you the old-fashioned recipes and skills that I learned from my Mamaw in her kitchen. Salmon patties. It's what's for dinner. This is something I remember having often growing up. And as a matter of fact, as I moved into adulthood, I didn't make salmon patties because I thought that I didn't like them. And I think it was the smell. I think growing up, just knowing the smell, for some reason, it made me think that I didn't like them. And so I never made them until a few years ago. And I knew Justin liked them. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. And I liked them too. And I honestly didn't even mind the smell anymore. I just had to step out of my comfort zone and try them again. So that's what we're having tonight, is salmon patties. I also have some baked potatoes in the oven. But what I'm going to be showing you is how I make my salmon patties. Y'all ain't even going to lie. When I was younger, I called them salmon patties. However you want to say it. Here are my ingredients. I have a, 14 3/4 ounce can of salmon, some mayonnaise, and then some seasonings. I have salt and pepper, Italian seasoning. This is our dried green onions from our garden. You could chop fresh onion as well if you wanted to. And then some garlic powder. I also have a little bit of flour here. I'm going to measure this as I'm putting it in. It's one of those things I usually eyeball, but I'm going to measure it for you today. And there will be a printable recipe down in the description box. And an egg. Now go ahead and open up. Let me get you where you can see a little better. I'm going to open. I got flour on me, everything else, y'all. I'm going to open up this salmon, and then maybe it's time for a new can opener. And then I'm going to drain this, put it in my bowl, and I'm going to look through it for any kind of like little bones or anything. I know sometimes, especially certain brands, you might find a few bones in there. So I'm going to look through it. Now that y'all have watched me struggle with this can opener. Any of the bigger pieces of skin that I see, I'm going to try to get them off. You don't have to get it all out. I just prefer to take some of it out. And while I'm doing this, I can start kind of feeling for any bones that there might be. See, there's one right there. There's several right there. And some of these bones are so fine that they will bust up, but if I can get them out, I get them out. Otherwise, they usually disintegrate. Once you get to this stage right here, it's not as unpleasant. It becomes a little bit better. Now, when we were living with Justin's mom, while we were waiting to move into this home, I remember making salmon patties with her, and she didn't really worry about getting the bones out. She would just take them and crush everything in her fingers, because the bones they crunch up pretty easy. And she would just break them all up. Let me see if I can show you. Here's a little piece. See how that just breaks up? She would just break everything up. I can remember Mamaw taking some of the things out, but I don't don't really remember her spending a whole lot of time looking for bones. All right, now that I'm happy with that, I'm going to, hang on, let me get some, I always crack my eggs in something else before I'm in. Especially with our farm fresh eggs. All right, 1 egg. I'm gonna put like a heaping tablespoon of mayonnaise. About a 1/2 teaspoon of my onion. And do the same amount of garlic powder. And the same amount of Italian seasoning. Now, this is what I'm using because I know it's what we like. You can season this however you want. I might even go get me a little hot sauce and put a little dash of hot sauce in there because I know we'll like that. Let me do that. Couple dashes of hot sauce. Good sprinkling of salt and pepper. Now I'm going to go ahead and mix this in a little bit. Then we'll add our flour. I'm using this big cookie scoop to measure these out just because I have it, and that's not something that you have to do. You could just get you a little bit by hand. But this way I know they're all the same size. If I feel any other bones, I take them out. Again, it's really not a big deal. And they just kind of crumble up. Matter of fact, it'd be extra nutrients, but something in me wants to take them out. So normally I would do a double batch of this since we've got the crowd to feed around here, but I just did a single batch today because I'm doing several sides to go along with it, including baked potatoes. So I just went ahead and did some larger patties and just did a single batch. But here we go. I've got these on a plate. I've got my oil heating up. Let me take you over to the stove and we'll cook these. So in my skillet here, I have enough oil just to kind of cover the bottom, and I'm going to let this heat up. You want to make sure it's hot before you start putting anything in because we don't want the patties to absorb a lot of the oil. Instead, we want them to get a nice crispy crust. And if your oil is not hot and if your skillet's not hot enough, then they're just going to really soak up that oil that's in there instead of getting crispy and frying. Drop just a little piece in. So I dropped just a little bit in to make sure it bubbled, that my oil was nice and hot. Got me an apron on so I don't get oil on my shirt. I'm gonna go ahead and lay these in. I'll let these go just for a few minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, then I'll flip them over and do the same thing on the other side. These are done. You can see both sides are nice and brown. And I'm going to put these over here on my plate. I have a paper towel on it just to catch any extra oil. My baked potatoes are almost done. My squash is almost ready. Once I get all these over here on my plate, I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit of salt on them while they're still warm. Now there, you can make special sauces to go along with this. Sometimes we like to have cocktail sauce or tartar sauce. Today, we'll either just eat them like they are or maybe with some ketchup, keeping it simple. But you can make up a fun little sauce to go with them if you wanted to. So everybody has given the salmon patties compliments, including the kids, and I'll count that as a win. They're delicious. Let me know, do y'all eat salmon patties? Y'all get in the kitchen and make memories with the people you love. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all. Bye. Bye.